Chapter 1138 full spoilers are completely different from the first spoilers. The title of the chapter is called Harley, and in Japanese this means sacred text, so we already know these spoilers are going to be insane just off the title of the chapter. The cover story, of course, is continuing the ogre child Yamato's golden harvest surrogate pilgrimage, where Yamato and the group find who's who in his secret base. Finally, he's wearing a Wano Kuni outfit but with his mask, and is drinking with his subordinates and some geishas. It looks like Kuzu is really comfortable in Wano, and it doesn't look like he's on a confrontational tip after getting his face cracked by Jinbei. And Huzu being the cover story, Oda revealing this during this chapter, makes a lot of sense. Nika, come on, you guys know where I'm heading with this. So the chapter starts where the last one ended. Loki is conscious and asks Shamrock if he's somehow related to pirate red hair Shanks. We all kind of predicted this. Loki says, great pirates and Tenryubito are totally opposite beings. How come you two have the exact same face? It is a good question, because you know the great pirates and the Celestial Dragons is like, you just can't even fathom a pirate being a Celestial Dragon. Just the reveal of Doflamingo being a Celestial Dragon was a big deal. And I have a Doflamingo video coming out the way too, so turn on notifications. It's going to be dropping after these spoiler videos in the chat, the video I dropped after. So expect that crazy Doflamingo video to be really hype. So Shamrock reveals that Shanks is his younger twin brother who grew up apart. Shamrock says Shanks returned to Mary Joas once, but he preferred to live in this filthy lower world. So there's no Shanks flashback in this, just dialogue, but this to me is hype because he's revealing that Shanks actually went back to the Holy Land, because we thought it was him in 907, but no, he went actually in a different time. And Shamrock revealing this, I can't wait to see when it's actually revealed. Shanks seeing his actual family figure land and going back to the Blue Sea, going back to the pirate world and pretty much saying F them. Loki then says it's amusing that he has now a grudge with both brothers, and he then swears revenge for all his animal friends. Shamrock says, are you threatening me? And Gunko says, boss, don't waste your time with the likes of him, showing that Shamrock definitely has an ego. He has a pride, which I'm noticing. He really wanted to show Loki that I am superior to you. Even when Loki said if I wasn't released that previous chapter, it would have been a different story, and Shamrock's like, no, it wouldn't. So he definitely has a lot of pride in his strength. Shamrock then says, I know there's no need for me to attack him directly, and pulls out a Cerberus. This kind of changes the vibe of the chapter, really. So Shamrock pulls out his sword, and a three-headed dog called Cerberus grows out of it. We don't know yet if it's a devil fruit power or not, but this Cerberus is similar to Moria's zombie that we saw in Thriller Bark, but looks much more threatening, as I expect it is figured out Shamrock. I would think some goofy-ass Cerberus would come out. And it has black clouds floating around its neck, and three swords come out from each of the three mouths. Now, the black clouds makes me think of the Gorosei and their powers, and because when you look at Luffy, and when you look at, I would say, well, there is Lucci who has black clouds as well, and Kaku. So black cloud, the color of the clouds maybe is more so just showing that it's an awakened fruit, maybe showing that the Cerberus is awakened. But if it's awakened from the sword, that just changes the entire game. Gunko then creates a huge bird with her arrows before leaving. And Shamrock orders the three Cerberus heads to fly away from its body, and then he makes the Cerberus body turn back into a sword, and he and Gunko then jump on the arrow bird and fly away. And Shamrock tells Loki, if you survive this, feel free to come and get your revenge. I'll be your opponent then, giving him like a challenge in a sense. So I think Oda's setting up Loki versus Shamrock in the future with this. Loki says, no way, you gotta be kidding me. It can't be. To be stabbed by that is bad, after seeing the Cerberus approach him. The three Cerberus heads, with of course their swords on their mouths as well, spin in the air and fly towards Loki at full speed. And then the three heads pierce Loki's torso together, so this definitely had to hurt. Loki says, damn you, Celestial Dragons, damn you. So Loki's going through a torture that it just looks like this shows why he's the strongest giant on Outback. The things he's going through right now, I think it's only going to make him stronger and angrier when he gets released. Shamrock and Gunko then talk as they fly away from the underworld. Shamrock says suppressing them immediately seems difficult. We will start by capturing the children first. Call one more person in. And Gunko says, understood. Which one do you want? It looks like they're trying to call a new Holy Knight. And the plan is to go for the children, showing that they're using their intellect, but there's no emotional intelligence as well. They're doing some foul shit right now, going for kids. And the fact that they're flying away on an arrow bird, it kind of reminds me of like Naruto vibes of like the Pain and of course like this situation of like Pain and the female and that. I don't know her name exactly, but she had like paper powers. So yeah, it's giving me that vibe a little bit. I don't know. Now we cut to the castle. Luffy and his group are talking to the giant guards, and Luffy found last chapter, of course, passed out. Luffy is angry because the giant guards say they were attacked by red hair Shanks. Luffy can't believe Shanks would do such a thing, and then he says how cool and honorable Shanks is, and just pretty much is glazing Shanks as Luffy will. And Nami's giggling when she sees Luffy so angry, and Nami says, "You have great trust in Shanks, right?" And Luffy replies, "Of course, Nami, you'd be angry too if someone made bad things about Mori Meri or whatever." And Nami's like corrects him, of course, it's Bellemere. But to see Bellemere mentioned in Elbaf is really cool. It's been since the East Blue days. And then, of course, the giant then says maybe it's someone who looks exactly like him or could be his brother. As, of course, the giant still respects Shanks at the end of the day. And Luffy says, Shanks' brother, I can only imagine him to be a good guy if there is one. But I've never heard him talk about his family. Apparently, he was a pirate on the pirate ship since he was a kid. And I think his family is probably Roger, Rayleigh, the whole Roger Pirates crew, except Buggy, of course. So Luffy seems to know a lot about Shanks just from the first chapter when we see that Shanks spent a year with Luffy when he was a kid. And Luffy's revealing it. Luffy really doesn't... Oda doesn't really show us Luffy talking about Shanks in great detail, but even after Wano, Oda's been showing that Luffy knows things about Shanks, and he's revealing it, of course. So I thought that was cool and all, but this whole Shanks brother plotline it's really shaking up for the whole Luffy stuff too. It's gonna be hype. As Luffy talks about the Roger Pirates, the scene changes immediately to the mysterious man we saw a few chapters ago with the Wano hat, and we can only see him from behind, but he's the same person who was drinking with Crocus in chapter 631 cover. And the mysterious man is walking towards the castle. He's very close to the main door. So all I'm thinking is Oda's finally going to reveal Scopper Gaban. It's been a minute, but we could finally put that Shiki theory to rest. Unless it's a complete ankle breaker, and I'm thinking, whoa. But the chances of that are very slim. Then it cuts to Frankie, who's examining the treasure tree Atom with Ripley. And Frankie sees a huge mural painting on the tree. We can't see it yet, but it looks to be hype. And Ripley, it says, I believe those are the children's drawings from long ago that have fossilized and become part of the bark. This mural it has remarkable historical significance, so it's one of the nation's cultural heritages. It's estimated they were drawn about 800 to 900 years ago. If that's true, then they're from the same period as the Void Century. Frankie's just like, what? And then he's like, we gotta show Robin this. I'll tell her later. But this is strange for Elbaf drawing. They don't look like giants to me. As Frankie notices something he's very observant. They don't look like giants to me. But like I said, guys, Oda is really going endgame with Elbaf, yo. A lot of lore. Elbaf is the lore piece, in my opinion. While Frankie speaks, we see some drawings from the mural. We see a mermaid princess, a robot similar to Emmet, and a creature with strange ears. And Ripley says, I agree. In our known history, while wars between different races are unheard of, there shouldn't have been any unions, which makes it even more certain that this painting is nothing more than children drawing. So Ripley seeing all these different races says, oh yeah, this definitely has to be like a joke. Like, it can't be serious. Now we cut now to the Walrus School where we see children playing and Ange teaching the class. In the Owl Library, Saul brings out the Harley book with Elbaf's sacred text to show Robin. It's an extremely old book that has a sun symbol in the cover, like the symbol we saw in Kuma's church during his flashback. So it's starting. The final title of the chapter, it's starting here. And who would have thought when I first dropped the spoiler video, I didn't think that this would actually be more hype than the first spoilers I witnessed. Saul explains how there's many interpretations of the sun god in quotation mark, yet him and his rhythm appear in legends all over the world. Harley has 3 chapters and each one represents one world. The 3rd chapter is said to be the world we currently live in, and the end chapter to foretell what hasn't happened yet. So we're learning the lore of not just One Piece, the entire One Piece world. This is what world building comes to, the accumulation of world building, because it's the origins of the One Piece world. And I gotta keep it real, the 3rd chapter is spooky because that's the era that Luffy's in. So this is the final arc pretty much. Robin then looks at the Harley book and says, I'll read it now. You have to understand, Rayleigh said for Robin to go on her own journey and find out the truth. So this is a big deal for Robin. She's excited, but she's thinking, okay, this is going to be very deep. And Robin's mind is already so intellectual to learn things in Elbaf. This is going to add into the puzzle that she's been forming this entire Grand Line. And then we get the hype moment. In the absolute epic final double page of the chapter, we see a mural drawing with the Harley text translated by Robin. It's very difficult to describe the content of the mural because it has a lot of details, but of course the spoiler leakers tried to do it. And pretty much this is how it goes. There's a treasure tree Atom is the center of the painting, and it divides the mural into 2 parts. Above the tree, there's a winged monster demon that spits fire from its mouth. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw this, I'm thinking this has to be Immu, but let's continue reading. And on the right side of the mirror, we see several things. On one side, we see a great city attacked by a massive serpent, and on the other side, we see an ark with a king, angels, and animals. In this part, we can see a lot of moon, and we can see a moon and some people making offerings like that look like stars. The last part is similar to the paintings on the that Anel found in the moon, so it's tying into the Skypiea lore that I've been talking about so much. But also, we're seeing this massive serpent that even Dorian Broggy mentioned on the little garden. So a lot of lore here, guys, a lot. So just hang in with me, guys. In the left side of the mural, we can see a big battle. Here we can see Nika, or Joy Boy, fighting against a huge winged demon that has the sun in its hands. And Nika's fighting alongside giants, one of them with horns, probably an ancient giant, the origins of giants. And then we see a samurai, probably an ancient Kozuki clan member. We see a Lunarian, which is probably a king related. Minks, of course. Mermaid princes, accompanied by sea creatures, fishmen, of course. Angels, of course, the sky people. And a robot similar to Emeth. And a lot of ships with humans. One of them seemed to be from Alabasta, Lily. So we're seeing a lot of lore here, guys. I'm telling you guys right now, it's a lot of hype. The angel part makes me think of a Mad Michael Rouge into the Elbaf arc, but yeah, it's crazy, guys. And finally, this is what the actual text says. This is what the Harley text says. The first world says this: on earth there is flame. Mankind, overtaken by desire, touched upon the forbidden sun. The enslaved prayed. The sun god appeared. The deity of earth is enraged. Together with the serpent of hell flame, they engulfed the world with death and darkness. They can't be met again. So we're learning that the first world has to do with some sort of serpent of hell flame that really caused damage. And I can't wait to see the origins of this when it comes to Nika. The second world. This is obviously referencing the Oil Century. In emptiness there is breath. The deity of force dispatched demons. The sun did nothing but spread seeds of war. The people of the half moon saw a dream. The people of the full moon saw a dream. Men became gods after slaying the sun. The deity of the sea rampaged. They can't be met again. This is Joy Boy. This is Norona Immu. This is hype for the second world. And lastly, the third world, the world we live in today. In chaos there is void. The troubled shadows remembered the promised day, and listen to the sound of the fragment moon. The sun god dance and laugh, leading the world to its end. The sun will return, and so comes a new morning. They will meet again. Now, that third world to me sounds much better than the original first two worlds, as those worlds were destroyed, and this one looks like there's promise. So Luffy is the man of promise. And guys, I gotta say, yo, these spoilers, some of my favorite spoilers I've read, because it still hypes up the actual chapter. I've always said that spoilers and chapters are completely different because of the panels. Like, when I read the panels with the text and the pictures, it's a completely different thing from spoilers. But I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. This chapter is probably one of the greatest chapters in One Piece history. Just reading the spoilers, and there's still my imagination's going crazy. So of course, after every spoiler video, I always do my yap session. And I'm gonna start my yap session with, of course, the most important thing. That image matters. Yes, the text is cool and the details are cool, but I have to see how it looks. We're getting a full One Piece history in Elbaf. I'm scared. I'm gonna be completely honest. When I read these spoilers, I was excited, but I got a little scared, yo. I got goosebumps reading these spoilers, yo. Oda is doing it finally. He's doing it, and I can't lie, it's hype. Now, of course, I'm not gonna yap too crazy about this because I still want to see it. Once I see it and I can connect it to, of course, the NL lore and the Skypiea lore, and just the lore in general in the entire One Piece world, the fact that it even connects to Big Mom, how she won all the races. We're seeing a bunch of, like, we see ancient giants, we see mermaids, we're seeing Poseidon, we're seeing Lily, like, we're seeing some Void Gentry stuff too as well. Oda's not just revealing the origins of Nika, but he's also revealing the origins of the second world in the Void Century and the origins of the third world where Immu falls. And I'm telling you guys right now, honestly, that third world was like a spoiler, guys. It was like a spoiler to the end of One Piece. Now, of course, I have to talk about Shamrock. The reveal that Shanks came to the Holy Land Mary Jewels. Yeah, of course, the Cerberus was hype as hell, but that's gonna be better when I see the image of it. And of course, the whole Scopper Gaban stuff was cool, but knowing that Shanks came to the Holy Land Mary Jewels but left, that had me hyped to see when Shanks actually sees his family and how disgusting they are and how they treat the people. He probably just looked at them, they insulted him and told him to come back, and he said, yeah, F you guys, I am not going back to Figure Land family. So yeah, that's cool and all. Of course, this chapter is a 10 out of 10. It actually is a 20 out of 10, guys. The lore, of course, like honestly, the whole chapter could have been about nothing, and that last double page, it makes it 100 out of 10. And you guys know I will be doing a chapter live stream, so turn on notification, you guys. If you guys want to see a chapter live stream, turn on notification, and I'll do a chapter video as well, and a Doflamingo video coming up as well. And the Skypiea documentary's coming out in 2 weeks, guys. Stay tuned for that. So yeah, subscribe, like the videos, turn on notification. If you guys are not following this channel the next month, you're gonna miss out on a lot of great content.